Welcome to Made in Walker, the podcast that connects you to the people, the stories, and the ideas shaping our community. From local innovators to everyday change makers, we're diving deep into what makes Walker a great place to live, work, and grow.
So today, as we cut this ribbon, let's remember that what we're really celebrating is opportunity. Opportunity for commerce, opportunity for safety, and opportunity for the continued vitality of our great community. Okay, a little drum roll, please. 5, 4, 3.
With that, the Fruitbridge Bridge is now open, but not without years of advocacy, planning, and of course, a lot of patience. But now that it's open, we're kind of looking at how it is reshaping access, jobs, and growth in West Michigan. I'm here with John Richard from Michigan Department of Transportation and Scott Connors, our City of Walker engineer. Thank you both so much for being here. Big players in this bridge project, and appreciate you guys giving us your insights.
Well, thanks for having us. Good morning.
Yes. So for people who haven't driven on it yet, what are the big changes people will notice with this new interchange project?
Well, it went from 2 lanes to 5. So there's 2 lanes in each direction, plus that center left turn lane, and a big 14-foot wide pedestrian path on the west side, and then a regular type width of a sidewalk on the east side. So just the pedestrian connections alone on this make this a huge project. And Scott, I'm sure you have got, a different perspective, especially from the business end.
Well, I think the pedestrian one is one that's not really talked about enough. I came in a little bit late this morning to kind of take a slow roll through there and watch traffic, and I was surprised to see that a biker was actually going northbound to some of the industrial businesses to the north in pitch black. But obviously a commuter, and that was a pretty nice feeling to see that on the very first day we had actual non-motorized use, which was really what that trail's for. It's not just recreation, it's transportation, and it was in operation in day one.
And that's always been a pinch point. I ride my bike all the time. In fact, I rode it here today because I can't stand parking downtown. So
yes.
I took it out of the equation with the bicycle. But bridges are always an issue, especially the old ones, because you can see on the satellite photo, it's got that hourglass shape, right? So to the north, there's all that development. The road was widened, but these bridges are a critical pinch point, and they're so expensive to replace. So every time there's a sidewalk or a wide shoulder, if you come to an old bridge, that goes away. You get a narrow shoulder, if a shoulder at all, from these bridges that were built in the 60s. So modernizing these bridges and interchanges is just huge for everybody: pedestrians, businesses, vehicles, buses. So we're glad that this is finally open, because even just 2-3 years ago, Fruit Ridge has been a discussion. What are we going to do about this bridge? Because it was just going to be a rehab project, substructure fixes, deck replacement, superstructure replacement. So to get this $25 million, grant from the legislatures, and of course the TAP grant that we got for the pedestrian path, basically paid for the project. And it's stuff like that. When we have the money, we can really modernize things to help everybody.
Yes, and we actually spoke with Representative Glanville and Senator Huizenga about the benefits of this new bridge.
It's really, truly a shining example of what can be done when, all branches of government come together, public, private, bipartisan, all the pieces fall into place. And I'm thrilled, especially about the bike trail.
When you put 10 years into a project and to see it come to fruition, it's really overwhelming. Such an exciting day for Walker, of course, but this is a regional impact. And knowing that state dollars are going to something that really makes a big difference like this, not for just Walker, but for Alpine and the whole region, it's really powerful.
This is multiple mayors, state legislators. We've advocated at the federal level. It's been a journey. So when I use the term surreal, it's like, were we ever going to get here? And we were so close to the finish line multiple times. And just to be here and up here, and not only that, but to be on time, on budget. It's the Walker way. I mean, we did things right here.
We were talking about the bridge design. What has really changed? The last bridge had been up for about 60 plus years. What's really changed with maybe some of the layouts, the design, the infrastructure over the decades?
Well, I can jump in on that. To the north and to the south, we've had tremendous development, and we've had multiple road projects. And as John mentioned, the hourglass figure design from above, you look down and see the narrow bridge. We had a 5-lane road to the north, which allowed for center turn lane for some of the businesses where you might have trucks stacking and things. And we actually were able to widen and add a center turn lane further north as well. So this project almost took the shape of 3 different projects in one. With the bridge and interchange, you've got the non-motorized improvements that wrapped all the way around to Kinney. And then to the north, we added that center turn lane, which is going to make it much safer for those businesses that are north of the railroad there.
And they're a critical part of this too, because the disruption to not only regular people who are going to and from commuting, but also the businesses. A lot of communication was meant to make sure that they understood what the project was, what all went into making sure that they were on board and they knew what was coming, and to just be patient with the project.
Knocking on doors, talking to everybody, talking to the schools. We always have a special project email list that you can sign up for. Yeah. You can follow us on Twitter. There's so many different ways you can find out project information. But one like this, you have to have direct contact with the city and the businesses to let them know exactly what's going on. And our kudos to our contractors for keeping us in the loop on every little change that took place as far as ramp closures, lane closures, total closures, because they just did a total closure of westbound 96 over the weekend to finish up and paint. So to get it open ahead of schedule, yesterday, I think it was about 4:00 it opened up. So yeah, it's a good feeling to look on my drive and see all those barrels off the screen. So it's nice.
Lights,
yep, all green. Yep.
And I think from a communication standpoint too, you did a fantastic job in getting the word out through social media. Walker did not have an active role in the design. We were kind of like a silent partner, but we stepped in a lot with the coordination with the public and our business owners. And so really we were able to hit them from multiple vantage points with a lot of good information to help them. So at least they knew what was coming next and how bad it was going to be.
Sure. Yeah, they were great with us, especially on social media. This was one of the projects where folks knew what they were in for, but there was minimal complaining or pushback. Everybody understood what this was about. So how does that feel to have a large project like this where community's patient, they're on board, and a lot of support behind all of you workers and such?
Well, I think people are a lot more patient when it comes to projects like this because, a lane closure is a lane closure, right? So if a lane's closed because of a pothole or if it's closed because of an interchange modernization, people are going to be a little more patient with the big project. So it is, projects like this where there's not many complaints and people really appreciate it, it makes you feel good.
And I think the impact on the public was sometimes we overstate that. I don't think we overstated it in this case. It was like a 5-mile detour to get around for folks like parents and teachers at Kennewa Hills. And so there was a tremendous amount of extra traffic on 3 Mile Road, on Walker Avenue, on 4 Mile Road, and then some of the more rural roads through Ottawa County because there was a bridge closure over there. So this really impacted a lot of people. And I was getting phone calls and texts from people from my past, old friends and folks that just were absolutely so excited and wanted to know with absolute positivity when it was going to be open so that they could make the first trip possible over that bridge.
Nice.
You bring up the schools. You're an alma mater of Kennewa Hills. So when we did this ribbon cutting, you were insistent, let's have the band be part of this celebration. Why was that so important? Yeah.
Well, they're just down the road.
Yeah.
So, of course, you all know I went there, class of 89. Thank you. So I called the high school up and I said, hey, do you guys want to help us, cut this ribbon? And they said, heck yeah, we'll be there. So 2 busloads show up and all the kids were excited to be, out of school on a Friday. Nate Robron, who I went to school with, is now the principal there. He was 2 years ahead of me in my sister's class of 1987. So it was like a little reunion, and I dug out the varsity jacket, and so it was good. And of course, we had the mayor, the senator, and Representative Glanville. So it was a great turnout.
Yeah.
And Kennewa's been such a great partner to us. Jerry Hopkins, the superintendent over there, is always engaged, shows up for a lot of our meetings to talk about projects and be aware. He's just a great part of the community.
Yeah, you really can't understate appreciate the communication, the great job that you all did reaching out to the community. And the celebration, it's not every day you have a ribbon cutting of a major infrastructure project like this. So there was a lot to do about this. What can you tell folks just about why it's important to celebrate these types of projects? It wasn't just kind of, hey, look at me type thing. This was important.
Well, there's so many players involved. And, the contractors, the subcontractors, the state, the city, our consultants. There's so many players involved that to see it come to fruition like this. And, again, we've got a short window of construction in Michigan, right? So to get it done on time, on schedule in about, 7 or 8 months, kudos to everyone involved.
And it really was a dream team that was put together to make this happen. It happened in about half the time it would normally take in terms of the design and construction. But, MDOT stepped up and put their best staff people on it. There were a lot of people engaged in this, in the rapid design and the prep for the bidding and construction. We ended up with probably the best contractor in the area for a project like this with Kamiga and Rudvoots. They've done some wonderful projects with us that we thought were nearly impossible. And then they pull it off and without a hitch. So they did a great job again, right down to the very last minute. Every member of their team was out there working to get it clean and get it ready, and they came through.
And we took a visit a couple of weeks ago, and the asphalt was still hot. I'm like, you guys gonna be ready in a couple of weeks? And they said, oh yeah, we'll be ready. So, but yeah, there was barrels everywhere and trucks and a lot of cleanup to do. And they had a lot to do over the weekend to get it open by yesterday.
Wow, yeah, a lot of work goes on behind the scenes that we don't see. We just got to be patient. Briefly, are there any things that people may not see that were part of the bridge infrastructure, like better drainage, things that really improve the area sets you up for the next several decades?
I might say that the interchange reconfiguration for the on and off ramps was a really big component of this, because when you were going eastbound from like Muskegon, Coopersville, you would have to get off to 3 Mile Road before, and that was offset from Fruit Ridge just enough so that it was impacted by left turning vehicles and stacking vehicles. And so oftentimes people would have to sit and wait there to be able to turn out. And that turns into car accidents when somebody says, come on, go across. And somebody else says, no, I'm going through. So that has been totally eliminated now. And we've got more of a conventional design, easier to understand. It's got nice, beautiful mast-arm traffic signals. And that happened on the north side as well, where the ramps were aligned, and it created a little bit of a tighter interchange, but certainly more efficient.
Yes, which is great. Safer, easier to access, just what we needed for the community, hopefully setting us up for the next several decades. Thank you both so much for your insights. Really appreciate it. And congratulations on a pretty big project completed and wrapped up.
I'm excited to use those trails. 40 miles to the west of the lakeshore and then all the way up to Cadillac. So it's a great connection.
And another great successful partnership with MDOT.
Right on, for sure.
Love it. Thank you both so much. Really appreciate you being here. And thank you for tuning in.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of the Made in Walker podcast. If you have comments or questions about this podcast, or if you have suggestions for future episodes, we'd love to hear from you. Please drop us an email at podcast@walker.city. Made in Walker is the official podcast of the city of Walker, Michigan. You can find Made in Walker wherever you get your podcasts.